Hello and welcome. We begin with the new visa clash between the United States and African nations, with Nigeria at the center of the latest controversy. The US government has issued a fresh warning for Nigeria. It says, do not seek a visa for so-called birth tourism. The United States has cautioned Nigerians against traveling to the country with the primary intent of giving birth, a practice known as birthright citizenship. The warning came from the US mission in Nigeria, which said, and I quote, using your visa to travel for the primary purpose of giving birth in the United States so that your child will have a US citizenship is not permitted. Consular officers will deny your visa if they believe this is your intent, unquote. Now the move comes as Washington tightens immigration controls under President Donald Trump's second term. Birthright citizenship in the US is a constitutional right protected by the 14th Amendment. Anyone born on US soil, including US territories, is automatically granted citizenship, regardless of their parents' immigration status. This includes children of non-citizens, undocumented immigrants, visa holders, and even tourists, giving rise to the practice known as birth tourism. Earlier this year, President Trump signed an executive order seeking to end birthright citizenship. He said at least one parent must be a citizen or legal resident for a baby to receive citizenship. Now, a recent Supreme Court decision cleared the path for that order to take effect, even as legal challenges continue in lower courts. But critics argue that the order violates the Constitution and that ending birthright citizenship would require a constitutional amendment, not just an executive order. Meanwhile, Washington's targeted warning to Nigeria is significant. As per reports, the country ranks fourth globally for birth tourism, with an estimated 33,000 Nigerian women traveling to the US annually to give birth. US authorities are urging Nigerians to follow visa rules, warning that fraud or misrepresentation could lead to sanctions, deportation, or entry bans. The warning comes amid a wider immigration crackdown targeting African nations. The Trump administration has imposed travel bans, restricted visa interview waivers, increased visa fees, and expanded social media screening for applicants. Earlier this month, Washington announced that temporary stay visas for Nigerians will now be limited to just 3 months. This falls under an updated reciprocal non-immigrant visa policy, replacing the longer multiple entry visas that were previously available. Additionally, Trump's Big Beautiful Bill imposes a $250 visa integrity fee on Nigerian nationals and other foreigners seeking entry into the US. Now, this is on top of the standard visa fee, which already costs over $160 in Nigeria. Meanwhile, Nigeria is reportedly among 36 countries facing potential expanded travel restrictions under the Trump administration. The current travel ban includes 12 nations, including 7 from Africa. With visa rules tightening and birth tourism under watch, Nigeria finds itself in Washington's line of fire once again. Now, to break this down, what this means for the country, we have with us on the show Dr. Ambrose Igboke, an international affairs analyst who is joining us live from Enugu, Nigeria. Thank you for being with us, Doctor.
Thank you, Alison, for having me on the show this afternoon.
Now, what factors have led to Nigeria being singled out in this renewed U.S. advisory? And how significant is the issue of birthright citizenship among Nigerian travelers compared to other countries?
Well, I would like to trace the history of Nigerians flocking to the United States of America. Nigerians in the 70s and early 80s were not bothered about going to the United States. We were more interested in the 70s in going to the UK and then the Soviet Union then. Then later in the 80s, UK, we're not interested in visiting the United States of America for anything until sometime in the late 1990s. The American government itself introduced what they call the DBC visa lottery, which was actually begging Nigerians, especially professionals, to migrate to the US to take care of the scarcity of human resources and personnel in the United States. So that ushered in this drove of Nigerians moving to the United States. So it was the United States government that invited the Nigerians. And over the years, it has been going on. When the United States, in a couple of years, turns around and start making it look as if they were not the ones that begged us to come to the United States, then it baffles logic. Also, a lot of Nigeria, because of the situation of the country, are very, very interested in going to United States because of the exchange rate, because the naira is very low in terms of value. So when you get a few dollars and you translate it to naira, it becomes big. So that is why they believe the United States of America will be a better future for their children. Those are the driving forces behind trying to have children in the United States.
Right. And how does the shift to single entry, short validity visas affect legitimate Nigerian travelers, such as students, business people, and tourists? And what are the broader diplomatic or economic implications?
Well, for me, I think Nigerians should start seeking other alternatives for overseas trip or overseas relocation. The United States of America seems to be saturated by immigrants, and one of the promises of Trump during his election was that he was going to scale down on immigrants. So this is going to affect the United States because they make a lot of money from foreign immigrants, from students, from the workforce, from tourism, and Nigeria's capacity to spend money in dollar has actually made the United States of America a destination for many people who are either migrating or going to school or doing a lot of things. America will lose. Nigerians should seek alternative places so that they can seek greener pasture. And then the federal government of Nigeria should make sure that this country is better, so that we don't have people trying to leave. When you talk to a lot of young people on the streets of Nigeria, what comes to their mind was they want to move out. They want to. There's a balance language we use called Jakba. Jakba means it's a Yoruba language that means I want to run away. So this is a very sorrowful trend, and that is because the country itself has been suffering from a lot of economic hardship. But if Nigeria can take time to resuscitate its economy, most Nigerians in diaspora don't even want to leave. It's the economic hardship that is making them leave. Most Nigerians love their country and they want to stay back.
Right. And from a legal and ethical standpoint, how does the US government justify targeting birth tourism? And what are the potential human rights concerns or international law implications of these visa restrictions?
Well, I think it is not good at all because the international treaties, multilateral treaties and the rest encourages a free flow of movement for global citizens to move around. And America is trying to block that. And it's not good for international access to some other countries. Also, the issue of the Constitution is also a big problem. Is it within the rights of the previous president to make such an executive order, which contradicts the Constitution of the United States? I'm thinking that lobby groups, people who are affected by this, can challenge them in court. So let's have pronouncement from other courts and see if this law, because it's an obnoxious law and it does not in any way promote the humanity that the global search for unity is driving at. This is a dividing humanity, and it's not good at all for a global human space that we are trying to create.
Right. Doctor, as always, great to have you on the show. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Alison, for having me on the show.